So, proud to be the finger.
White House.
Oh boy. Hi everybody. Welcome. We're gonna give this a try. This is my second start at this. I tried to stream earlier and it took a complete crap and did nothing. So, I was talking into the void for a minute, which is fun. Don't get me wrong, but it's much nicer when you guys are actually here. It doesn't seem nearly as crazy in that circumstance. Hold on, let me open the chat so that I can see what I should see, don't you know? Hello, everyone, and welcome, and how are you, and hi. Hey, what's happening? I was not planning on being on today, by the way, because usually I'm not on Sundays, and I have a show tonight at Flappers, flapperscomedy.com, and it's a live-streamed virtual set that I'm doing there to benefit flappers because they're completely screwed right in this current pandemic. So, hi, hello, thanks for being here. Glad you guys are here. Yeah, it's a good time. So he's been bitching about the weather all day, which is a good time. So hold on one second. Let me go to this one. Yeah. So let me see if I can get the video of him where he was just kvetching about. Where is it? It's like it was super fun. Trump reporters. Let's try. And I'll look today. He for whatever reason, he came out. Yeah, there he is. Justin. It's so weird. Look at how. Good grief! Look at how the Hill refers to. Check one. There you go. Look at how the Hill refers to this bit right here. Let me scroll up. Check that. Just in, Trump roasts Supreme Court over 2020 ruling. Roasts them like he's joking. Watch this, because this dude is not joking. He's pissed. Hey, T-Brock, how are you?
I hope everybody's having a good time. We're doing our third stop of 5. We have great crowds. The first two were extremely cold.
Well, where are they
but
now?
they're great people. So that warmed it up. We're doing tremendous numbers. Florida's doing very well. Ohio, as you heard, is doing phenomenally well. I think we're ahead of Ohio from 4 years ago, and we won by 8. If you look at North Carolina, we're doing great.
Right, I did look at North Carolina.
I think we're doing well all over. Georgia looks like it's in our camp all the way.
No, not all the way.
Texas is beyond good.
It's beyond good. Why bring it up?
Well, all over. And that's not based on polls. That's based on numbers, based on early ballots.
Yeah, not polls.
So we're very happy with it. And
you mean mail-in
I think
voting?
Michigan is +2. Just came out with +2 in Michigan.
You mean above 0?
We're really doing.
I am at Flappers in a couple of hours, but I'm just jumping on here to talk to you guys.
In response to Biden's going to Ohio tomorrow.
So Biden, the question is, and I don't know if you can hear it because it's pretty noisy. He goes, do you have any response to Biden going to Ohio tomorrow?
I have no idea. Look, I don't think he knows too much what he's doing. I think he's proven that over the years. It looks like Ohio is in our camp. I won it by 8, as you know. And my people tell me we're going to be higher this year. So he can do that.
You can't hear me? You guys hear me? You guys couldn't hear me for a second, or you can, or what? Was it just too loud?
No, that was a false report.
Oh, Trump is louder. I see. Yeah, I only have... Oh, wait, maybe that's it. Maybe he's in my other ear, and I turned him up too loud. I beg your pardon. Hold on. Oh, my God, yeah.
Look at what happens. I think it's a terrible thing when ballots can be collected after an election. I think it's a terrible thing.
I think it's a terrible thing when people can vote.
When people or states are allowed to
count votes.
Tabulate ballots for a long period of time after the election is over.
It's not over. It hasn't. It's over when the official count has been given. When when it's been certified. That's when an election is over. You can't count ballots after it's been certified.
Because it can only lead to one thing, and it's very bad. You know what?
It can only lead to one thing, and it's bad, no good, or badness.
What that thing is?
What is that thing?
I think it's a very dangerous, terrible thing.
A dangerous, terrible thing. It can only lead to one thing, and it's a very bad, terrible thing. This is a grown man speaking, by the way. And I think this is a Halloween story that he's telling, and he's referring, of course, to werewolves. Clearly, counting ballots, it's like feeding a mogwai after midnight. If you count ballots after Election Day, which is always done, apparently the wolves come out at night.
And I think it's terrible when we can't know the results of an election the night of the election in a modern-day age of computing.
In a modern-day age of computer. I cannot wait to see the book he writes about his presidency. Because you know it's going to be an autobiography. They won't give the rights. He's going to read his own story. They're just going to, basically there'll be an audiobook autobiography of the president that they will transcribe into a written form.
I think it's a terrible thing.
What, blending makeup from your face to your neck?
And I happen to think it was a terrible decision for our country.
Uh-huh. Terrible?
Made by the Supreme Court. I think it was a terrible decision for our country.
Ooh.
And I think it's a very dangerous decision.
Uh-oh. Somebody's getting mad.
Because you're going to have one or two or three states, depending on how it ends up, where they're tabulating ballots, and the rest of the world is waiting to find out.
No, I don't give a shit how long they're waiting. I want a fair election where the votes are counted.
And I think there's great danger to it, and I think a lot of
Well, yeah, because of werewolves. Durr.
fraud and
I'll talk to you, Gonzo. I have a four message window that I can see the chat through on this particular computer. So cut me some slack.
issues can take place. I think it's a terrible decision
Why are you pointing at me?
by the Supreme Court.
Well, talk to your people. Apparently, what are they not following your instructions?
A terrible decision. Now, I don't know if that's going to be changed, because we're going
No, it's not.
to go in the night of, as soon as that election's over, we're going in with our lawyers. But we don't want to have Pennsylvania, where you have a political governor, a very partisan guy. And we don't want to have other states like Nevada, where you have the head of the Democratic clubhouse.
There's a clubhouse? Why have I not been invited to the clubhouse? Is there a buffet? Are there snacks? What the hell?
As your governor, we don't want to be in a position where he's allowed to every day watch ballots come in.
You mean via the mail during a pandemic?
Gee, if we could only find 10,000 more ballots.
Gee.
We're doing
I love how in his little stories, there's the sir and the darling stories, and now there's the criminal who always says, gee. That's his running thing. Gee, I think I'll just take $1 billion out of there. Gee.
great in Nevada. We're doing great in Arizona.
Then what are you worried about? The more votes, the merrier.
We're doing great all over.
Then why do you care how many votes come in?
But if you take Nevada or Pennsylvania, and everyone knows what happens in Philadelphia.
What happens in... Oh. Black people vote. That's what happens in Philadelphia. That's what he's talking about.
You don't have to say it.
I just said it. Sorry, I shouldn't have said it. You don't have to say it. Okay.
But I've read about it for years.
You've been reading about black people voting for years? Do you read it to your children on Halloween as a scary story? Gather round, kids. It's time for this story. This is terrible. About black people voting. They come in. They're in there. They mail in a vote. They vote absentee. They bring in another person. Souls to the polls. That sounds spooky, doesn't it? It's like dead people vote. That's why they call it that. Ooh. Eric, stop crying.
And I don't think it's fair
that people vote.
We have to wait a long period of time after the election. If people wanted to get their ballots in, they should have gotten their ballots in long before that, a long time. They don't have to put their ballots in the same day. They could have put their ballots in a month ago.
Yeah, arguing against your own October surprised. October surprise.
And we think it's a ridiculous decision.
Man. And you're supposed to go to the plane. Where you going? And you're walking the wrong way. And you're walking towards, I'll just walk over and salute this guy and talk to him so people won't realize I was about to walk out onto the, he was about to walk out in the middle of the tarmac. He salutes this guy. Then he salutes her. And then he talks to this dude. And this dude, when he's like, so, you believe this Supreme Court bullshit? Psst. I'm the commander-in-chief. You're supposed to say yes. These people, what are you talking about? Oh, I'll talk to them. If you talk to this guy, he's not even wearing a uniform. You're fired. Okay, so, anyways, I was just telling them about the Supreme Court bullshit. Let me tell you the same thing I just told the reporters. Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. What, you don't understand? That they keep counting, they keep counting votes. They want to count votes. That's terrible, Mr. President. Look, where are you going? I want to finish my story. That dude was literally walking away. He's like, can I get the... And look at this man staring at the president like he's a crazy person. Look at that. Like, what? But they're not going to do it. Okay. Oh, yeah, after you, sir. Where are we going? Oh, see you. Bye. Hitler thumb. Where am I going? I'll walk this way. I like to walk. Okay, so that was him bitching at the plane's the other direction, and I think it's the helicopter because I think he gets on Marine One. He gets off the plane, gets on Marine One. Marine One takes him to the little airport where everybody's gathered. So this is where he is.
2 days from now, we are going to win this.
Nope.
This great state, just like we did last time. That was a big, you were the one, right? You were the one that put us over that hump. And we're going to win 4 more years in the White House, our beautiful White House.
Our beautiful White House. You mean the people's house? You can't hear him? Be quiet.
Cut your taxes, cut regulations.
Cut the cheese.
Support our great police. Protect our Second Amendment.
So we can defend ourselves from that's my bad, sorry.
Can stand for
protect our police, protect your Second Amendment so you can fight back against the tyrannical government and shoot cops and soldiers if they have to come to your house to arrest you because you've been committing, crimes.
6% of Americans say they are better off today than they were 4 years ago.
Oh, wait. Hold
Better
on.
Off
Wait.
Found that 50 a free fall. We're creating the world's greatest economic powerhouse. A recent Gallup poll just came out. Found that 56% of Americans say they are better off today than they were 4 years ago under Obama.
This recent poll that just came out that he's been talking about for 3 months.
And Sleepy Joe Biden.
Found that guy that he's saying is better off working as a debt collector. Yeah.
And I want to tell you, it's really windy up here.
I don't want to be here. This is bullshit. Thanks, Ronnie.
Thank goodness you have a president that doesn't need teleprompters because these things are virtually useless.
Virtually? Let me guess. You're going to be glued to them when you're not wandering.
They are blowing all over the place.
No, they're not. We can see them. Honest to God. This is Look at this. And they've got these wires on them now so they don't waver. And he's like, they're blowing all over the freaking place. They're everywhere. I can barely read them. They're doing this.
That's true. They're blowing all over.
Yeah, that is true. They're blowing all over the place. I'm watching them blow all over the place.
We started off.
You know who's blowing all over the place? You.
Today, two great places. We went to Iowa. I tell you what, we had in Iowa, we had the coldest, windiest, but it was warm because the people were warm, and we're going to win Iowa.
Was it some sort of big key party? Like a bunch of swingers, whatever? We were, if I would have froze to death if somebody hadn't cut open a maggot with a lightsaber and just shoved me inside until the droids could find me.
Very big.
I like the kind of wander speak he's doing now. This is a new thing this weekend, where he's like, we're going to do this thing. We're going to do it. It's going to happen.
We had a couple of cold stops today.
Yeah, great story.
One was so cold.
How cold was it?
Talked about refugees. We said if they come in, they're going to say, I want to go back immediately. It was so cold.
It's so cold, refugees would rather starve in a war zone with napalm dropped out with white phosphorus than hang out in Iowa.
If Biden and Harris get in, the economy will collapse and our country will go into at least a free fall, but probably a depression.
At least a free fall. It must be exhausting to try and one-up yourself with absolute devastation every frigging time. You know what I mean? Like, this is... he's very slurry today because his lips are freezing. He's got bus stop mouth even beyond this. So this is, this is a regular part of his, his experience. Like, he's always gacked up and drunk and on painkillers or whatever drugs they have him on. But beyond that, he's also got bus stop lips. You're standing waiting for the bus when you're a kid and you can barely articulate what you're trying to say because your face is friggin' freezing.
Raise your taxes. They want to take away your Second Amendment. They want to do lots of things that I don't think you can stand for.
No, you don't. Like what? They're going to take away your Second Amendment. Of course, that would require the ratification of the states, and it's not something they've even run on or suggested.
I don't think you can stand for. Fracking doesn't pertain so much to it. It does pertain.
He's got one note. North Carolina, fracking. They're going to take your fracking away. Fracking. Nevada, fracking. They said, first of all, he says he's no fracking, and now he's for fracking.
In a different way to you than it would to Pennsylvania.
Yeah. At least you know where you are, kind of.
They're taking away your fracking, but what they're really doing is your energy costs are going to go through the roof. That will be very bad for this incredible state.
Whatever state it happens to be.
You want to massively increase regulations, send your jobs overseas.
Set fire to your puppies. Burn down America.
Destroy the suburbs.
Destroy the suburbs. Yeah, that's how you do an economic recovery and pay for social programs. You undermine the entire root of the middle class.
Well, we're keeping the suburbs. I got rid of the regulation that would have destroyed the suburbs. They will bring it back.
They were totally bringing it back. I didn't get rid of that thing just so my developer friends could buy some prime real estate after I leave office. No, it's because I care about you in North Carolina. You know, those North Carolinian suburbs, also known as the frigging sticks.
Than ever before. Terminate religious liberty, eliminate school choice, outlaw private health care.
Let me just bullet point these things. Destroy sky, set fire to the oceans, pour water and sand into volcanoes, turn Yellowstone purple.
And shred your Second Amendment, take away your guns, and indoctrinate your children with anti-American lies.
Boo.
Biden has vowed to abolish U.S. oil, U.S. fracking, natural gas industry. Look.
Yeah. Play the video where he says he's abolishing these things because he wants to phase them out over 2 decades.
Look at what he's talking about doing.
This guy wants to phase out ham radio. Can you believe this? He's going to, over the course in the next 20 years, Joe Biden wants to phase out, he's going to abolish your ham radio. How you going to communicate if in 20 years you can't ham radio anymore?
It's not him. He's shot, okay? It's not him.
6%. Nationally, Dems are early voted 6% more than Republicans. It doesn't seem like a big early lead. Yeah, because that's spread out all over all the states, Gonzo.
It's the radical left. It's the radical left.
You mean the group that Biden beat?
Energy prices will explode.
Yeah. Biden will make the number 12 stop flashing on your VCR. How in the world will you find your way to the bathroom in the middle of the night if he fixes that?
And crippling, that will cripple our country. You know, we right now, energy independent.
Yeah, we were energy independent, and we were a net producer of, net exporter of natural gas and oil during Obama. We know.
What we have going, we've never had before.
Biden will abolish 9-volt batteries.
Biden's energy ban will send every state from North Carolina to Michigan
to any of the other states that I need to win where they might play a clip of this on the news because I can't afford ads.
To Pennsylvania into a very, very severe problem.
His grasp of the language is getting better day by day. Into a very bad problem.
Ban will send every state from North Carolina to Michigan to Pennsylvania into a very, very severe problem.
Oh, very, very severe problem. That sounds bad. Gosh. A very, very severe problem. Huh. I don't know how.
And we're not going to have it.
Okay, good. All right. Well, at least we're not going to have it then.
We worked too hard. We had the greatest economy.
We worked too hard. You golfed more than all the last 5 presidents combined. We worked too hard.
In the history of our country.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. After World War II, we had a 2% unemployment rate. Growth throughout the country from the Industrial Revolution forward for about 70 years was pretty steady and huge. And the Obama administration handed you the longest period of job growth in American history.
And then the play.
Yeah, ZB Pierce says Biden just melted my shotgun. That's what's going to happen, even before he gets in office. He doesn't even need to be president to do it. That's why Trump's saying, why haven't you done it, Joe? Clearly, you melted his shotgun, and you didn't even have to be there with an executive order written as a former government employee.
It came in from China. It came in from China. They should have never allowed it.
They should have never allowed it, but they allowed it. So that means they're trying to murder us. But tell us how you sold them a bunch of corn.
They stopped it from going into China.
How do you stop the China virus from going into China? Dun, dun, dun!
But it came to us and Europe and the rest of the world.
Uh-huh. So it wasn't personal, is what you're saying.
And we're never going to ever forget.
Gonzo, the lead, that 6% lead is spread out all over all the states, including the solid red ones.
We will never forget.
That's what waters it down.
Now we're building our economy back up, and it's going in a V, but it's really a super V.
A super V. Maybe it means a super V because it's laying on its side and it's flying. So, like, the rich people are going here, and it's his version of the K-shaped recovery. It's a super V. Super V. Like, I felt like after I got out of the hospital, I wanted to tear my shirt open and there'd be a big V on it, except I couldn't get the buttons off.
As long as I'm president, we will remain the
You mean till January 19th?
#1 producer of oil and natural gas on the planet Earth.
We're not. We're not. We don't have the biggest reserves by any stretch of the imagination, and it is a finite resource, dumbass.
And
Ask the Saudis how relying on oil is going right now.
we will remain energy independent. Our opponent's agenda is a war on workers, a war on faith, and a war on our great police.
Well, considering the war on drugs made drugs more available and the war on poverty actually resulted in more poor people, perhaps having a war on the economy will make it bigger and better and more readily available.
Biden says he's running as a proud Democrat. I'm running as a proud American.
He doesn't just say he's running as a proud Democrat. He says he'll run as he's a proud Democrat, but he'll be an American president. You're just borrowing his line. Yes, I have a set of 4 mason jars here that I enjoy quite thoroughly, and I miss them when I'm not in town. So it's just a tip-shaped recovery. Boy, by the way, he looks really happy, and he looks like he's winning.
Thank you. Thank you very much. By the way,
Yeah, they're using the sample as well.
I just have to say this.
No, you don't. You don't have to say any of this. You're choosing to say this, and I can't wait to hear it, OJ Gloves.
So we had something incredible happen 4 years ago.
Oh, boy. Glory days!
This is more important,
I never thought I'd say this.
and there's more energy.
Uh-huh.
The crowds are bigger. Everything's hotter.
Everything's hotter except when I'm freezing.
And it's really, but this is actually, and I never thought I'd say it because that was an incredible period of time.
Glory days!
Never thought this is the most important election, perhaps, in the history of our country. Get out and vote. Gotta get out and vote.
Gotta get out of it.
Sleepy Joe Biden is a diehard globalist who spent 47 years
Come out to the coast. We'll have a few laughs.
outsourcing your jobs, opening your borders, and sacrificing American blood and treasure in ridiculous, endless wars. And they're all coming back. They're all
The wars are coming back? What?
coming back. North Carolina lost nearly half of its manufacturing jobs thanks to NAFTA, one of the worst trade deals ever.
Notice how every state lost half of their manufacturing, no matter whether they had manufacturing or not.
And we got rid of it. Nobody thought that was possible. Promises made, promises kept. We did it all.
We did it all. Including Space Force. Nobody even talked about Space Force. They made me do it. There's no blood in the sand. No sand in the blood. You got your blood in my sand. Well, you got your sand in my blood. Two great tastes that taste great.
Biden and his group shipped your jobs and your factories to China and other places in faraway lands,
Have we ever heard of them before? Are they lands we'd never even heard of?
raking in millions of dollars for himself, it turns out. We didn't know about this, did we?
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, we were all living in reality until you showed up, and it took you a little while to fabricate this. That's why your homework was late, and the story dropped a month ago.
His son was like a human vacuum cleaner.
So he was cleaning up everywhere he went, like he'd find a mess, and when he left, it was better. Okay, this asshole, can he please just start saying he was like a money vacuum cleaner or a cash vacuum cleaner, or it was like a cartoon where he was vacuuming up cash? At least work the frigging the fact that he's talking about money into this, because he tries to backdraft into this stupid analogy every single time. I know I shouldn't help him, but there's no time left. He's only got a couple days. He's not going to learn his lesson. What do you think he's going to do? Improve?
Went in and...
Blah, blah.
Where are you going today, Dad? I think I'll go to Ukraine. Okay, let me pick up a couple of bucks. $183,000 a month and $3 million up front. Where you going today, Dad? I'm going to go to Russia. Good. So the mayor of Moscow's wife gave him $3.5 million.
This is, by the way, if you want to hear the whole story that he's trying to ramble his way through, you can watch Rudy Giuliani's Common Sense. It's pretty goddamn funny. I mean, we'll do a retrospective after the election's over, because like the movie 2012, it'll be a lot funnier after the date passes.
Right?
Yeah, but
And here's the scary part.
Okay, here's the scary part. You're wearing OJ's glove and
The fake news media, and there's a lot of it right back there.
yeah, point at the cameras, get him to boo.
The fake news.
Oh, yes, we hate the media.
They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it.
Because it's criminally libelous bullshit? I mean, they don't want to talk about Bigfoot either. They got bigger fish to fry. I'm just saying.
And big tech will refuse to put it on, and then they'll terminate the New York Post if they put it up. New York Post, I have
They'll terminate the New York Post.
to give them a lot of credit. Number one, they endorsed me, which is nice.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got the Weekly World News. You got David Pecker at the Inquirer. You got the New York Post. I mean, what's left at this point? The little like dirty joke book that you get in a truck stop men's room next to the French ticklers and this that thing on the wall in the bathroom.
You know, I got endorsed today by the Pittsburgh Gazette, and it hasn't happened where they endorsed a Republican today. Nobody could believe it. They haven't done it in decades. And thank you very much, Pittsburgh Gazette. We'll take it.
We'll take it, whatever.
We got endorsed by a lot of great people. We got endorsed by great people, and a lot of newspapers are endorsing us.
Sure. Give us a list. LA Times, New York Times, Washington Post. Hit me when I get, one. Seattle, Chicago Tribune, Sun-Times. I'm just listing off papers that actually have readerships and actually journalistic integrity. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure Highlights for Kids is just waiting with bated breath.
Because they know that Joe Biden is not up to this job. All you have to do is watch him for about 5 minutes.
I watched all three of the speeches he did in the last day and a half.
He is not up to this job.
You mean the guy that's speaking in full sentences clearly and giving speeches and yelling to large parking lots full of cars and they're honking back at him when they agree with him? He can't. He's not up to this job, but this is, though, what this guy right here. He's not up for the job. He can't do the thing.
All you have to do is watch him for about 5 minutes. He is not up to this job.
Well, I'm sold. Now I'm starting to understand what the Pittsburgh Gazette sees in this fella. I like the cut of your jib there, Donnie. He can't even do this job.
One thing I can tell you, President Xi, Putin, Kim Jong-un, they're very sharp.
Yes, we know. They've all bested you very easily and had you kissing their ass literally on the same days that, according to you, they were attacking us. Or they weren't. Yes, Putin is very sharp. My question is, why are you being a whetstone for him?
They're very sharp. They're all very sharp.
Yeah, maybe they gave him Degeneron?
And we cannot have a leader that's not sharp.
Uh-oh. How have we made it through the last three? Oh, leader. He said leader. I mean, he got to, all right.
Joe Biden is a corrupt politician who is bought.
By the way, he's reading directly from the teleprompter right now when he was a moment ago going, it's good thing I don't need one.
And paid for by China and other countries. How can you have a guy whose son walks out?
How can you have guy? How can you have guy, man, dude? How can man have guy, man? How can you? Oh, God. And again, anybody who, flubs while they're speaking, that's a natural thing that occurs. You roll back and fix it. I do it occasionally. Biden does it. Obama does it. Everybody speaking does it. But none of them claim to have the best words and be essentially flawless. And then pretend they meant to say the complete bullshit phrase they said.
China and other countries.
Yeah, just anywhere.
How can you have a guy whose son walks out with $1.5 billion to manage? That means millions of dollars a year.
Right.
Whose son asks for $10 million a year for introductory purposes, right? $10 million a year.
Well, I mean, it's abundantly clear that he didn't. You made that shit up. Prove me wrong. Last year, that info was for sale in Ukraine. Rudy went there. Ron Johnson was in Russia at the same time. They come back. A month later, this laptop shows up both at a Delaware laptop shop owned by a blind guy who says that Hunter Biden dropped it off, but he can't be 100% sure. But he didn't write up an invoice until a reporter asked him for one, and it had the day's date on it that he'd been asked. And then it also turned up at Charles Ablow's, or whatever his name is, Keith Ablow's office when it was raided by the DEA. But it wasn't Hunter's laptop. It was Hunter's lawyer's laptop. And it just magically showed up at this guy's place. And, of course, it was a fabricated copy. So they found it and they were like, oh, this says that it's Hunter Biden's lawyer's laptop, not Hunter Biden's. Which I don't know why you take your lawyer's laptop to your shrink's house, leave it there, and then your shrink, who is sexually assaulting his patients and doling out psychotropic drugs to his patients and himself and every Rush Limbaugh at Fox News, that he can violate patient-client privilege on a laptop that's not even his client's, but that was left there by his client, but that isn't proven to be either of them's. I'm getting dizzy.
And he's supposed to be negotiating with China? China would just hope that I don't win because, hey, we've taken in tens of billions of dollars a year, first time ever with China. We never took in 10 cents.
Yeah, we did. We obviously did because we have a trade deficit, meaning that we take in some money, but they take in more. That's how a trade deficit works. The trade deficit has gone up since you've been in office.
Saved our steel mills, saved our steel and aluminum industries. In 2016, North Carolina voted to fire.
Where's Ivanka? She's gone underground. I mean, I ordered my Where's Ivanka shirt, but it's on back order because they're making so many Where's Bill Barr shirts.
This corrupt political establishment, and you elected a president who is finally putting America first. And if I don't sound like a typical Washington politician,
it's that most of them don't drink on the job.
It's because, thankfully, I'm not a politician.
Well, in a couple of days, let's make that permanent. What do you think?
Never will be. And if I don't always play by the rules of Washington and the Washington establishment,
or the FBI, or the CIA, or the Constitution,
it's because I fight for you, and there's never been anybody.
And by you, he means Daughters of the Confederacy.
That's fought harder for you.
By the way, welcome everybody. I just jumped on here today. I know it's Sunday. I'm not normally here, and I've got a show at 7 o'clock, so I got to bug out hard at 6 p.m. my time. and clean myself up and get ready to do a show. Flapperscomedy.com. Anyways.
I had a very nice life before doing this.
Yeah, I saw you went to a lot of dance parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I saw those pictures of you and your wife and your kid hanging around Ghislaine Maxwell. I saw, yeah, you had a great life. It's great. No one would loan you money until magically Deutsche Bank gave you some money that was forgiven, which according to Rudy Giuliani is a prime indicator of money laundering, which is what he said on his show with no irony whatsoever on the same day that the story that $245 million in loans were forgiven by Deutsche Bank.
I had a
very nice life. He's starting to pine for the good old days of not having to get up in the morning. Gonzo, why are you mad? I listened to you. I agreed with you. But I think you're spreading it out over 50 states is my point.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Stop playing the sample.
So nice.
Thank you.
That's such a great honor. When I hear that, it's never been said at any place. I said, did anybody ever hear that?
Well, no. I mean, that's not fair. David Koresh, all of his followers said it. Jim Jones's people said it. Robert Tilton's people said, Jim Baker and Tammy Faye, people said that to them all the time. I mean, of course, they ran off with those assholes' money. And yeah.
That Ronald Reagan we liked, others we liked.
Deutsche Bank, what you're saying doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's a criminal enterprise. Look it up. They forgave $245 million worth of loans to Donald Trump. Has anybody ever had a loan forgiven? Forgiven. Now, granted, the money that came into Deutsche Bank that ended up in his bank accounts came in during a time when post 9/11, the software that checks on sketchy money transfers happened to not work for 12 years at Deutsche Bank. Weird. Magically, that software was just turned off at Deutsche Bank. At a time when, and later on, of course, they were fined by the United States billions of dollars for laundering money, along with the WTO and the World Bank and everybody, because they're a criminal enterprise. But whatever.
Nobody's ever heard it, and I appreciate it very much.
Nobody's ever heard "I love you." Look, just because this is the first time you're hearing it.
My opponent is promising a long, dark winter. Did anybody see the debate? I'm sure nobody watched it, right? He didn't do too well. No.
Yeah. Nobody watched it, right? Yeah, he did terribly.
Oh, he's looking. Remember, he said, you're going to have a long, dark winter. So inspiring. How about somebody says, gee, we really like... I don't think anybody likes Biden.
He can't even finish his own stories.
How about somebody says, gee, we really like... I don't think anybody likes Biden. Harry,
I like Biden. I think he's a good man. Just saying.
Let's watch Biden tonight on television. And he says, we're going to have a long, dark winter. How inspiring that is, right? So he said that, and I'm saying that we're going to deliver the greatest American comeback in history. That's what we're doing.
No, we're not.
And we're way ahead of schedule.
What's the schedule?
This election is a choice between...
You know what the schedule is? However long it takes to make sure it sticks. This, like, spackling the holes and pretending you were never there bullshit is for the birds.
A Biden depression and a boom like you've never seen before.
Jesus Christ, man. Do the phrase. I try not to help, and it's hard. Trump boom, Biden bust. Like, how hard is it? Don't do it. It's basically what you're saying is it's the difference between a Biden boom and a Trump dump. Yeah.
For it's a choice between a Biden lockdown. He wants to lock it down. Let's lock it down.
You mean like Boris Johnson just did? No, he doesn't.
Let's lock it down.
Let's lock it down. That's how he's going to handle it. That's the kind of conversations Biden's having with his teams of scientists he's having these meetings with every day. You know, guys, what do you think? Fuck it, right? Let's just lock it down. You got anything to do? Let's have some ice cream. Let's just lock it down. Who cares?
And by the way, tell your governor to open up North Carolina.
No.
It's time. It's time.
No, it isn't.
It's time. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Is it ridiculous? Say it. Tell me if it's ridiculous.
They'll probably announce it on November 4th. We're going to open up.
Yeah. So they're going to announce it on November 4th and just open it up because screw it. But Biden's going to lock it down on a whim. Can you tell how this asshole governs? Because that's what he says. That's his idea of the thought process of other people. And that's how this happens. This is what people do. They kind of go, he's probably thinking this. It tells you more about the person unless they know that person well and they've spent a lot of time with them. Husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends tend to go, he's probably thinking this because they spend time together. If you're saying this about your opponent, you're projecting.
Now, they thought our numbers wouldn't be so good. They thought by keeping these states like Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Michigan. How about her? Her husband roams free. He's the only.
Oh, we're telling the Michigan sailing story again? Jesus, man.
One of the whole state.
Yeah. Imagine socially distancing on a boat with no one else.
No, but they thought.
Nobody knows what the shit you're talking about. People in North Carolina go out in their boats by themselves, and in Florida, too. Just, who gives a shit? You're not going to the mall in a boat, you dickhead. I don't know why he thinks that's an argument. He says it a lot.
Keeping him down, the numbers would, and yet we had at 33.1, that's the highest in the history of our country, by double. You have to go back to 1952, and that was half of what we did. So
what was the drop-off?
We're looking for, we're going to have very shortly, within a couple of weeks, we're going to have safe vaccine that will end. And now look, we're rounding, they hate when I say it, the fake news, but we're rounding the turn, we're rounding the corner.
Yeah, we don't hate that you're saying it. We hate that you're lying about it. If it was true, everyone would go, all right, great, okay, cool. Let's go back to talking how you're generally a shitty president. Because science has solved the problem for you.
Anyway, we're rounding the corner.
We're just rounding. We don't even with or without a vaccine. Honestly. I mean, who knows? You get it. 7-10 years later, you get rheumatoid arthritis or heart swelling because there's a shingles-like secondary reaction. Who needs a vaccine, really, in that situation? Why don't you just catch it, and if you make it through and it kills you in 10 years, I'm not going to be here, so who cares?
But on top of that, we have vaccines coming from Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, great companies, and they're right there. They're right there.
They're right there. They're right there. Why are you people not injecting yourself? There's a trolley going by at this event with syringes on it. Get to poking, you lazy assholes. It's a little chilly, so the needle will go in really, really slowly. So you might want to slap that vein.
And we're going to have them launched, and our military is going to...
We're going to have a launch.
They're right there.
Great. It's going to be the first... We're going to have a launch.
Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, great companies, and they're right there. They're right there.
They're right there.
And we're going to have them launched, and our military...
We're going to have them launched. Great. So you don't even have to come in. They're just going to fire syringes full of whatever the shit this is at you. Yeah, it's going to be dart guns. They're going to mount a 50 cal just going, hepata, 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 hepata. Just syringes spiraling off the top of this shit. Good God.
Is going to do it logistically incredible, and we're going to start with our seniors.
Okay. Yeah, why not experiment on them? I mean, aren't they effectively the second stage of the trial done fourth?
Especially our seniors where they have some problems with heart, with diabetes.
Yeah, they have a problem with heart. It's all those bleeding heart liberal old people who give a shit about their grandkids.
And we're going to have a great thing. It's going to speed up the process.
We're going to have a great thing. It's going to speed up the process. My God, man.
We launched, and by the way, it does work. Here I am, right? Here I am.
You didn't take the vaccine. And as a matter of fact, you don't have to take the vaccine now, allegedly. If you actually had it, you don't take the vaccine after you've had a disease. That's not how vaccines work. So basically, by either pretending or actually getting the goddamn thing, you get to skip, because you're protected, in theory, because you're president, you get to skip taking the vaccine, which might kill people. Cool.
Now, I like to say that the medicine I took, Regeneron, I'd like to say that...
The medicine you... It's not called Regeneron. It's the name of the company, dipshit.
It had no impact on me because...
It had no impact.
Because I'm a perfect physical specimen and I'm very young.
That's a joke. He's just joking. What he's trying to say to you is that he's old and he's a fat, flabby mess.
But I decided to take it anyway, right? No, it's amazing the things...
Nah, I'm just kidding with you. Not.
Things we've been able to do in the last 6 months. Not only that, if you look at all of the...
Tell us about it. Look at it. If in the last 6 months, since lockdown, tell us all the things we've been able to do.
...to do in the last 6 months. Not only that, if you look at all of the what we produce now, we've become a production incredible what we're doing. And what
we've become a production incredible what we're doing. Holy shit. Can we just get a complete sentence? I would settle, even if it's red, I would, all right.
We're sending to the...
Republicans are not necessarily going to turn out more on Election Day, by the way. That's been the general thought. They're overlaying a non-pandemic time.
The world, the ventilators, what we're sending...
You mean the things we don't need anymore?
To the world. I mean, we're sending things that nobody could believe. The treatments that...
We're sending things that nobody could believe. Shit we found in the Upside Down on Stranger Things. We're sending ninja koalas. Nobody would believe that. We're sending...
Reduce the fatality rate.
I know he can't hear me. I just don't care.
Now, 85%.
By the way, we've got a decent number of trolls here today, and I want to thank them for joining us and inflating our numbers. It really helps. It boosts us up in the algorithm. It's been honestly been a godsend. I understand you guys are just making a buck and what you type. That's you're doing what you can. I understand that. I mean, clearly, we can all see that you're not very bright, and you live a sad existence, and your dream is laying in the flatbed of a truck with a bunch of Trump flags on it, as it rams into what's left of the old wall.
Think of it. But my wife, our first lady, got it, and our son Barron got it, right?
We're going to tell the story about how Barron got over it in a second.
And Barron...
And get your schools open.
He's 14, and he's very tall. And he's...
Wait, if you have a flag in your yard, you're a Trump supporter? Bullshit. If you have a Confederate flag in your yard, you're a Trump supporter.
Strong. And he had it for a matter of minutes.
No, he didn't. You gave a shit for a matter of minutes.
That's why I say... Get the kids back to school. Get them back to school.
Did he fart right then? I think so.
The doctor came up to us and said,
what did he say?
I'm sorry, but Barron has tested positive.
Oh, no. And we are about to watch a grown man make an AIDS joke about his teenage son.
And I said, for what?
Because your kid getting AIDS is funny.
Tested positive for what? And it's got about 30 different names, but he said COVID. We could call it the China plague, the China virus, but he didn't say. He said COVID.
Yeah, because he's a clinician. He's a physician, and he wants to give you actual facts, not... I don't know what... Do you have a nickname for every illness? Yeah, I know, Doc. What kind of dick drip do I have? That's what I need to know. Jesus.
I said, gee, that's too bad. I said, he'll be...
That's what you say when your son tests positive for a disease that's killed a child as young as 4 weeks old. And recently, it's killed a bunch of teenagers and people who are quite fit, including like a workout influencer. You go, gee, that's too bad.
Fine. About 14 minutes later, he came back.
Oh, that's weird. Same number of minutes as your son's age because you can only think of one thing at a time.
I said, how's Barron doing? Oh, he shook it off. It's fine. It's fine. They're young. They have strong immune systems. Get them back to school, please. We've learned about this horrible plague.
Yeah, we've learned that kids carry it and bring it to people who will be killed.
That was sent to us by China.
Oh, sent. Now, they allowed it before. Now they've sent it. So they sent it. So let's be abundantly clear. Donald John Trump believes that China sent a disease on purpose that killed 250,000 of our people. I think the count is higher, and they're ignoring some. But let's just, he thinks they sent it on purpose. And how did he respond? He finished his trade deal with them, and after 200,000 plus had been killed, he sold them corn and soybeans and beef.
Our excess mortality rate in America is 40% lower than Europe. You keep hearing.
In a non-pandemic year, meaning if you include all deaths, and we have a shit ton of gun deaths and Europe doesn't, so once everything's locked down and we're not shooting each other during April, May, and June, then the number goes down and it starts to balance out because it hit them earlier and you're overlaying the times, and this is just dumb.
Europe is doing so well. They're not doing so well.
Yeah, they opened up too early. Ask Boris Johnson whether or not they need a lockdown. You know who's doing well? Canada.
And we want them to do well, by the way. And we help them. We help them. We want them to do well. And but they're having a very hard time.
COVID is strong, but cancer, flu, and heart disease is at an all-time low. It's because they're not diagnosing people, because people aren't afraid to go to the hospital.
Joe Biden is promising to delay the vaccine and turn America into a prison state.
Yeah, that's what he's promising to do. He's promising to turn the United States into a prison state. So basically, he wants to be Donald Pleasance in Escape from New York. You're the Duke, a number one.
While letting rioters roam free. They close your churches, they close your schools.
What? So he's going to lock down and turn America into a prison state, but rioters can roam free. Well, clearly, if rioters are roaming free, you don't want to be out amongst them. It's too dangerous. It's better to be locked inside. Maybe he's trying to protect you behind it. Is this a plot line of your Purge series script?
Schools, but if you want to riot and burn down the stores and have the anarchists out there do lots of it, that's okay.
Yeah, that's how it works. That's the argument. I'm sure everybody there heard during the Democratic primaries where it's like, hey, if you want to burn shit down, have at it. By the way, we're really counting on that anarchist vote.
You can't stop that. But you can't go to school and you can't go to church. Because,
I don't know, this is starting to sound like an insidious plot to murder like looters and rioters and rooters, people who uproot trees. Looters and rioters, and while keeping people who go to church and school safe. Sounds insidious.
It's crazy. All Democrat run, by the way.
You mean the biggest cities with the biggest economies?
All Democrat run. You look at Portland, Democrat, super liberal Democrat.
Yeah, it's fun. If you ever go up there, I do the Helium in Portland, the comedy club. It's awesome. Voodoo Donuts is awesome, and they have a vegan strip club. I don't know how that works, but it's true.
We could fix that situation. We have to be invited in. We fix Seattle.
Yeah, because you're vampires. You can't cross the threshold if you're not invited in, of course.
Because we said, that's enough, we're going in. We don't care, we're going in. So we were going in the next morning. That night, they found out about it. They said, we're leaving now, thank you very much.
Yeah. You know, she heard I was going to break up with her, so she went ahead and broke up with me because she couldn't take it.
And we did a great job.
Yes, Jess Dollface, that's true.
In Minnesota, Minneapolis, after you watched that place burning down a week and a half.
Tell us about how Ali Velshi was standing there and it was burning behind him, and he's like, it's basically peaceful. Tell us that story and the shaved head thing, and then adjust your hat.
Later, they went in and solved it in about a half an hour.
Is that how it worked? Gee, then it must not have been that much of a threat.
If we'd listened to Joe Biden on allowing travel to come in from China and Europe, remember he said, oh, he's xenophobic.
Yeah, he did say that. In general, about you as a human being, which is true.
Now he runs for president. He said we should have acted sooner. Months later, he didn't think we should do it. Hundreds of thousands more people would have died. We saved 2 million people or more. You remember the model? It said 2.2 million people.
If you use herd immunity, which is what you're suggesting now, you're claiming that you saved 2 million lives because when there were 15 cases and they were just going to go to 1, if you'd have gone with herd immunity, it would have killed everybody. Now we've got 9 million cases, and you're like, maybe this herd immunity thing's got something to it.
Would die. Well, we saved 2 million people by acting quickly. Now Biden wants a cruel...
I hear what you're saying, Gonzo. I'm not ignoring it. I respectfully disagree, and we'll go over some of the 538 stuff if I have time. If not, we'll go over it tomorrow after I drive back to Los Angeles completely exhausted.
And very heartless nationwide shutdown.
It's a heartless nationwide shutdown. Of course, the, heartless people running people off the road because they don't want them to actually just have a regular campaign event in their area or gathering your supporters together, because it really doesn't matter in a couple of weeks if a bunch of them die, leaving them to freeze after your event or letting them pass out because your asshole campaign hasn't arranged for like heat lamps or cooling mists do you give a shit about these people after they vote?
It won't
No, that's the answer, by the way.
affect you because you're already shut down. I don't know what the heck. What's going on with your state? Are you
They're not one of the big spikes.
ready to open up? I think so, huh?
Yeah, we know your crowd loves that idea.
Now, you know what? People aren't going to take it anymore. Look at what...
Tough shit. Why won't they take it anymore? What's not to take? You're up against a disease, you lazy bastard. Amazing.
Anymore. We can't have the cure be
worse than the problem. It's the cure. Oh, can't be worse than the disease.
That was like the first thing I said a long time ago.
Yeah, I know, and you've fucked it up ever since.
The Biden lockdown will result in countless deaths and wipe out an entire generation of dreams.
Oh, no. This is getting... And by the way, he was just complaining moments ago that the vision that they were presenting was dark and scary. And now Biden's just a dream murderer.
And we've learned that children with a computer do not do well compared to being in classes, okay?
That's right. So tell all those Christian homeschoolers that your kids are idiots.
They don't do well. It's not the
Yeah, they're stupid. I mean, I think Kayleigh McEnany was homeschooled. That shows. I mean, honestly, the president has a point, folks. Any Christian homeschoolers that are listening to the president, this is your guy. This is your candidate of choice by vast numbers. You guys vote for this guy. And what he's saying is that your children are intellectually inferior to other kids. That's his message to you, homeschoolers.
And the parents have to go to work, and the problems that are caused with alcohol, drug abuse.
But enough about Rudy Giuliani.
We can't let this happen, and you can't let it go on. I have a feeling that probably he'll say, it's now November 4th, the day after the election. We'll go back. He should have never done that, and they should have never
We'll go back. He should have never done that. You mean they're going to open it up?
done that.
You already said that part.
And actually, the states that are doing best, look at Florida. Look at all of these states where they had a spike, and they didn't close down. Look at what happened in Arizona. Look at what happened in
Yeah, they shut down. Arizona has like 3 cities,
Texas.
and 2 of them are Siamese twins.
We can't let it happen. Europe imposed draconian lockdowns, and yet their cases are exploding, their deaths are surging, and their economies are, let's face it, you look at what happened.
Look at what happened. What happened?
In ruins.
Their economies are in ruins. They're maintaining. They're not under the illusion that they're out of this yet. Trump is literally arguing that we should be patching the roof in the middle of a hurricane. And we're going, we have more of our roof right now because we're standing up here hammering away at it.
We had the smallest down and the largest up and the largest fast up on the economy.
But enough about Stormy Daniels.
By far.
Yeah, it was over quickly.
So the European lockdowns are leading to more suffering, delayed...
Yeah, I tried to think of the third one, Gonzo, and I couldn't. Joy Reid on MSNBC. If the blacks who will vote for Trump say they do so with pride, why won't they tell their mothers that they voted for him? Because they're afraid to tell them. Well, it's excellent point.
Medical care and financial devastation. A vote for Biden is a vote for lockdowns, layoffs, misery, and getting rid of your Second Amendment.
Just throwing that one in for good more. Not only are you going to be sad, but you won't even have a gun lying there on the nightstand to finish yourself off with. Jesus Christ.
They want to...
And by the way, I don't know why he went mono for a second. They
want to hurt our police.
So if you're... Yeah. I don't know why, but their audio dropped to mono for some reason. It's only in the left channel. So that's, if you can't hear it, that's why.
But they want to take away your guns. Very interesting, isn't it?
They're going to take away your guns while you're suicidal, apparently? Gee, it's almost as if they want you to live.
If you want a vaccine to kill the virus, a job to support your family, and freedom to live your life, then go cast your ballot, cast your vote for me. We're going to do it.
We're going to do it. It's half-assed wander language afterwards.
We're doing it. But you don't have to take my word for it.
Why would anyone?
Because in certain states that I like a lot, we spend a lot of money for, where is that? Look at that.
Oh, he's talking about the video, which, by the way, they are taking to every single stop. And he's like, we only show this to really the best crowds. Am I right, you folks? Am I right?
That over there. Look at that. You're going to see something right now. You don't have to listen. Please roll the video.
You don't have to listen. Please roll the video.
Roll it. You're going to see something right now. You don't have to listen. Please roll the video. Roll it.
You don't have to listen. Just watch. The words don't matter. You don't have to listen. Okay, we'll skip ahead. We've seen this business
Romney,
before. It's the same shit.
Really believe that
it's Sean Hannity clips. Awesome.
that if elected, that Joe Biden will actually be in control of anything?
Yeah. We need to get some Hannity clips. Basically, we're seeing this is the president's life. Look how, he's hypnotized. This video is the same video they play at every stop. But look at him watching that video. He's not walking over and talking to somebody in the middle of it. He's not addressing some other people. He's not looking over to, hey, check it out.
What kind of country?
And I did snort, by the way.
We're going to find ourselves.
Tom.
This is...
Tom. We cannot do this. He's failed for 47 years. And at the debate, all I had to do is
Well, that's just because you consider the Violence Against Women Act a failure and a personal attack.
easy. I said, Joe, why didn't you do it? You know, as he stood and complained, what about this? I said, Joe, you left 3.5 years ago. You were there for a long time.
This is the vice president. He doesn't direct policy. Supports it.
And you were in that position for 8 years. Why didn't you do it, Joe?
Too busy with the auto bailout that you were against?
And he never had an answer. No law
He never had an answer because your question was bullshit.
enforcement endorsements, no nothing. Joining us tonight are
Here's the group of people.
young black men, super predators.
That's not a very good introduction. By the way, Biden never said that. Didn't call him that. That is a Hillary Clinton phrase. He's still running on that stuff.
In the history of our
And by the way, Trump, just go read the article, the op-ed. I don't know if it technically is an op-ed. The full page ad he took out against the Central Park Five, and tell me that Trump was offended by predator talk back in the 90s.
His pretty colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Poor thing, she cried, I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you.
Jesus Christ, he's reading The Snake again?
Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed that vicious snake.
He hasn't memorized this shit in 4 years?
She wrapped him up, all cozy,
Oh, God.
in a comforter of silk, and she laid him by the fireside
You can't put that shit in the teleprompter? What's wrong with you?
with some honey and some milk.
Honey and milk for a snake? What the hell what was wrong with this woman?
She hurried home from work that night.
She heard home. See, this is why cattle and snakes should never hang out. He's reading The Snake.
As soon as she arrived, she found that pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived.
Oh, God. By the way, he's telling you who he is.
Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in for heaven's sake.
Oh, the audience is riveted. You can just hear their heartbeats.
Take me in, O tender woman, sighed that vicious snake.
Let me get to the next page. Hold on.
She clutched him to her bosom.
Oh, God.
You're so beautiful, she cried. But I hadn't brought you in by now. You know you would have died. She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed and held him tight.
Who does this with a snake they find? Especially a talking snake. Like, honestly, this story's always wonky, but it's literally, you haven't seen this? Yeah, he's an asp.
But instead of saying thank
Instead of saying,
his pretty skin again and kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, he
stumbled on his flight.
the snake gave her a vicious bite.
Right on her bosom. Who does she think she is? Donald Trump?
Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed that vicious snake.
After he bit her? What? So she's hugging him, holding him tight, and he bites her and then asks to stay. Maybe it was a nice bite? Was it that kind of bite? Like a
I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bitten me, but why? You knew your bite was poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Shut up, silly woman.
This is just too full of samples. Can't stop lying. Honestly. You guys maybe you haven't seen him do this. This is him going back into the well.
And
like
now,
this is the shit, like they would wait for him to do a reading of The Snake at his rallies in 2016. He's just going, he's playing the hits. And they're freezing. None of these people are interested in this.
Me, but why? You knew your bite was poisonous, and now I'm going to die.
Shut up, you silly woman!
Shut up, silly woman.
He just wants to shout that in front of a crowd of people.
Said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. So
That was riveting. That was riveting.
before you took me in. So I've been asked by so many people.
So, I don't know, a bunch of people wanted me to do that, and I was running out of material.
I've been asked to do that one by so many people.
By so many people.
I've been asked to do that one by so many people. But that pertains a little bit to what we see going on. And you look at Paris and you look at the attacks over the last week.
Oh, so that's about immigrants. I see. This time, it's not, Biden and Hunter biting you on the bosom. It's immigrants are poisonous snakes. But anyways, I don't know. People want to wear.
And you look at what's happening, and we are doing very well. We are.
Yeah, because we're lucky. Most, if not all, of our terrorism is domestic cracker psychopaths.
Doing very well.
Yeah, we don't need no foreign terrorism. We grow our own right. We're smoking our own supply.
We have a very strong policy. We put in a ban that a lot of people were upset about, and now they're saying.
Yeah, because you're literally reading the snake and saying that's what immigrants are. That's good point, Gonzo.
Thank you very much.
Thank
for
you.
The ban. We appreciate it very much. We invested $2.5 trillion in the U.S. military. We also passed VA choice and VA
No, you didn't. Okay.
accountability for our great vets. We have a 91% approval rating with our vets, the highest.
It never changes. Thank you. Yes, I'm going to bail in about 5. I'm going to give me 5 more minutes because he's almost done. We'll skip ahead to this bullshit, but
By a lot.
you're lying. Whatever.
Did the mass murder of U.S. troops, Soleimani,
Oh, yeah.
for peace through
Strength, right.
Always respect our
Great American flag. And except, when we strike at the heart of everything that it stands for and its equality under the law and, the standards of character that you urinate all over it metaphorically, but you can hide behind the physical one. I get it.
And we will
I do appreciate the heads up, guys.
by the timeless words of our national motto,
E pluribus unum.
in God we trust.
No, that's just on the money. But I understand why you would be confused by that.
For years, you had a president who apologized for America.
No, he
now
didn't.
you have a president who is standing up for America and standing up for the great people of North Carolina. Yeah.
Because North Carolina fans are the greatest fans in the world. Am I right? Until I go to the next city.
And we will make America
America.
great again. Thank you, North Carolina. Go out and vote. Thank you.
Clap, 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 clap. Wendy, clap, a clap. Oh, get off, everybody. Clap, clap, clap. You, Zig Heil, Heil Hydra, my hat. Lap, a clap, clap, a clap, a clap. Thump, a thump. Double hand jibe, a grabbing on your buttocks. Lifting your butt and pointing at you. Clap, clap. Hey, everybody around your nipple. And I'll jerk both guys off and you too. All right. Doing the hand jibe jerk. Okay, that was it. There was a short one today. All right, because I got to go. All right. Let me jump back to this one. The shot of me like that. There we go. Back to the dungeon. Yeah, it's YMCA. They play YMCA at all the things. But they do it as a way to, basically do a copyright strike on everyone. So real quick before I go, just to Gonzo's point, as far as because they just did a thing about this. Let's see. Here's a go. Let's see. Let's go to this one real quick. Bink. Hey, there we go. So Trump can still win, but the polls would have to be off by way more than in 2016 currently. Because, yes, a lot of people vote early normally, and there's a habit of voting early by some people, and largely because old Republicans tend to vote early in standard years, and this is not a standard year. So the model of who's voting and when is not a factor. And if we look at the peaceful protests that have gone on, a lot of the people who were at the protests or have been taking part in protests over the year are going to be voting in person. There's just an understanding that they're not voting early. Those folks are particularly going to go down there and do it in person. And yeah. So anyways, this is their argument on there on 538. Again, let's see. So you can go through these things. I'm going to try still steady right here. Not narrowing, widened back, a couple months ago, but even when it narrowed, it didn't narrow any further. Biden's up by 8 in Michigan by an aggregate. PA, Biden's up by 5. This is outside the margin of error by a 1.5 point and a third. Wisconsin, Biden's up 7.9. He's basically 4 above the margin of error. Arizona, he's up by 3. These are not the numbers we were seeing with Hillary Clinton last time at all. And these are likely voters. These are people who you can count on to vote, and then you add on top of it the voters who say they're going to vote and the voters who, vote but can't, and then, normally but can't, and the voters that have never voted before and say they're going to for the first time, all that shit. So this is not varying much at all in the lead up. It is, the tightening that it has done in the final days. Hillary Clinton was somewhere in the order of like 3. She was within the margin of error last time on the national polls, which was true, and it ended up being that she was ahead by the amount she won the popular vote by in the actual polls leading up to the day. It was the Electoral College that was the issue. So again, it's really about these individual states. And last time, because the assumption was that Trump wasn't really that much of a threat and he was ridiculous, and a bunch of people were like, I'll roll the dice on him, and it turned 78,000 votes in 3 states, turned the election. He won 3 states and got the Electoral College from those states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, on a margin of less than 1%. Because a bunch of people shrugged off that election. And they were, they learned a bit in the last year from this stuff. But this has grown apart. This is March. April hits. We do the lockdown. Midway through the lockdown, people are listening. They're home more right here. This is where the lockdown started the most for everybody, around April 20th. That's when we've been in for a little while, and people are starting to pay attention to how long this is going to go on. And it's been wavering at this point the entire time. Hillary Clinton was not outside the margin of error in Michigan leading up to it, except in, kind of standard op ones. And all these, they give you, like I said, the aggregates, D- versus B- and all this kind of stuff. So there's a variance in these. Yeah, and there was a total butter emails effect. There is no butter emails effect with Biden, no matter how hard they're trying with this shit. So yeah, I'll look at Florida real quick, and then I got to take off. So Florida's a factor. Biden is ahead down there, but it is within the margin of error. Now the margin of error can go up or down from wherever it is, but Biden's lead in Florida will come down to the state shenanigans, whether or not the people voting who want to vote for each candidate will be allowed to, and all her stuff will actually, I'm reading the chat at the same time. But this, this is within the margin of error. So again, that can be 3.5 points up or down for either candidate. So the factor in Florida more than any other thing is not the desire of the electorate, because that seems fairly consistent even through the last few days, even as it has narrowed in a more traditional sense, because the people are older. And it went to where it was. It backed away when Trump was being more of a jackass. Now they haven't seen him, so they're kind of going back to this. But the point is, it's about whose votes will be counted. And again, Trump was, this was back and forth. They were, wedging on. There was a day where, and I want to find it, but I have to scroll through super slow. But there were a couple of days where Trump was ahead of Biden in this little switch right here, March to April. And it didn't last long. And it's been fairly consistent above throughout that, But this is the, Florida's a crucial state, and that's why they have the governorship and the Secretary of State, and why there's so much bullshit shenanigans down there. And if you look at the polls, you got a +1, +1, +3, +2, +2, it's back and forth. So, and Rasmussen, is Trump's favorite one, and yet in their most recent one, they're giving it to Biden by 1. Rasmussen is always the one that favors Trump and the one that they share the most. So it's very telling. So, hey, Bunny Loco, how are you? So yeah. Yeah, this very well could be, it may take, I don't think, honest to God, I don't think it will take more than 3 days to count some of the more outlier states, unless but the Republicans are going to try and stop the counting. But there are a lot of areas where there's a very strong chance that the on-the-day vote in Pennsylvania will be equally Democratic and Republican, or in the same thing in Michigan or Wisconsin. There'll be a lot of early votes in Wisconsin. A lot of it has to do with weather and shit like that too, because if the lines are going to be long, the colder states, people are taking more advantage of it. But there's still a chance that, on the day, and that's what we'll be watching out for, is that the volume of voters is going to be, it's going to be easier to vote on the day, which is a factor of removing people from the electorate as far as already having cast their vote. These are people who are not going to be standing in line. So the 7-hour lines become 3-hour lines when a lot of people have already voted. And so the people who are going to vote on the day, a lot of them are going to end up, they're going to have an easier time voting. And the word will get out that it's easier. And so people who are like, oh, God, they always screw us, are going to come out. And Texas in particular, the reason it has an opportunity now, it's within the margin of error. Trump is up by 1 point in Texas. This could be the big upset of the time right here, because when you're within shooting range and this few votes can determine everything, which is why they tried to shut down 170,000 votes at drop-off boxes in Harris County in Texas. The reason the Trump clan are doing that is because they know there's a stack of new voters. These are likely voters. Most of these polls are based on likely voters. And in this, there's a very strong chance that within this kind of margin, there's a big march of blue people who didn't vote before, don't generally vote, that are going to do this. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys. If you Venmo'd or any of that stuff during the show, my watch died, so I couldn't see it. So I appreciate you guys, or if you gave bits or any of that stuff. Thank you anyways, if you're on Twitch and all that kind of stuff. If I bring up the windows on this computer, it will die. So, wonderful. So, yeah, there's a lot of younger voters will be voting on the day. So a lot of the early vote is all of the early voters, the regular voters have cannibalized the early vote. And then on top of that, the number of votes so far is actually higher than last time. Yeah, so I'm gonna buzz off and go to my show. So anyways, this is the thing to watch is Texas, I think. Anyways, and so Ohio, we'll see if that actually opens. Where is it? Okay, so again, look at this in Ohio. Look at this. Look at that. 47.4 to 47.1. This is an active race. Now, one of the reasons why Trump ran away with it in Ohio was that the polls last time showed Hillary very high and her likability rating amongst a lot of voters was very low. So they figure, screw it, I'm not going to vote because she's going to take it anyways and I don't like her. That's not Biden's problem right here. This is a legit back and forth right here. And motivated Biden voters, there's not a ceiling on those people. That's a 70% group. Largely because they're going by who voted last time and the numbers of Democrats who qualify as likely voters because a bunch of people didn't vote for Hillary last time. They don't count as likely voters. If you skip the last presidential election, you're not going to be a factor in most of these polls. They're not going to call you. So, but this is where there is the Emerson one, which is the A- in these, has Biden at +1. The Civics and Survey Monkeys are always allegedly crap, even though they have a large number. I guess how it's who they get that aren't as trustworthy. Same 5,468 people we see all the time. They just check back with them every day, and so it always leans this way. But yeah, so and they're a D- poll. So is Swayable. Swayable has Trump +12 out of 440 people in here. But Jorgensen's got 1% and Hawkins got 1%, nothing, less than 1%. So yeah, so there's a bunch of that in there. Yeah, SurveyMonkey's online and it's easily gamed. So yeah, but Ohio is razor thin. So if you're doing calls on election day for get out the vote, Ohio and Florida are the two places to do it. And if you've already done that, then hit Texas, both tomorrow and on election day. So there you go. But either way, get out and vote. I'm going to check in with you guys tomorrow and make sure that everybody has voted. Yeah, and I've got to go right away. There we go. All right, I'm taking off. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else, everybody. I got to go run and clean myself up and go do a show. All right.